I'm Nathan Ponchard, this is Chasing Cars, and this is the new Generation 1 series. Apparently it is because it's called F70 and not F40, but this is a heavy rework of the existing hatchback that has been on sale since mid-2019, late 2019 in Australia.
Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by
Why is it different? Well, it's about giving it more length, making it look a bit less frumpy than before. One of the criticisms about the front drive 1 series is that this gap here that used to be between the front axle and the body, very cab backward, because it was rear wheel drive, just vanished. And so we had this thickness of height here, this lack of luxury length here, and this sort of stubby koala nose at the front, and it just didn't exude sportiness. So all of this is new and will be shared a lot with the 2 Series Grand Coupe, the F74, the next generation of that, which will come out later in the year. Anywho, this look here is very much inspired by the existing 2 Series Grand Coupe, and thankfully they only did it for the nose, because the rest, let's hope they change all of that next time they release a new one. These headlights here are all new, these vertical DRLs, which are really cool. They're blue in here, which means BMW adaptive, so they are kind of matrix LED kind of thing. Says BMW LED on the side here. This front design is about being lower and wider with the kidney grille. So here we are slightly slanted forward, so it has this bit of aggression leaning forward here. It doesn't have that sort of puffy, cuddly, lean back look of the old car. This is about giving it a bit more presence, and this is the M135, so it has the business, meaning all this gloss black stuff around here, horizontal slats with an M badge, got all this gloss black lower splitter here. It has quite a good presence about it, much more so than the kind of soft predecessor of this vehicle. Now, as we go back through it, you'll notice one thing that is really quite similar, and that is the entire center section of the car is the same. It has the same oval shaped door handles and these pull out door handles. That was on the previous 3 Series. If you think about it, all the new generation BMWs have flush handles where they lift up like this, and this does not have those. So that is the one place where you can really tell this is a heavy rework of the now 5-year-old 1 Series hatchback. These mirrors here are new. They're these twin split ones, M Sport ones, where they sort of touch in at the outside. They're all gloss black, that's new. The wheels on this car are also completely new. Bridgestone tyres, 235/40 R19s. In this case, it has an optional BMW M Sport Pro pack, which means it has red calipers and darkened headlight lenses. If it wasn't the M Sport Pro, it would have blue calipers, but the brakes are in fact the same. Now, I should mention that this is M135. It is not M135i, because BMWs have been fuel injected for 30 years more, and I is saved for the electric cars. So all of the petrol engine cars going forward will just have the numeral. They will not have I at the end, and the other model available in Australia when this car launches later this year will be 118, nice and simple. Under the bonnet here we have the 2-litre turbo petrol 4-cylinder. It now has the same output as in the X1, X2 M35, which means 233 kilowatts instead of 225. Not a huge difference, still 4.9 seconds 0 to 100, still a 7-speed dual clutch automatic. The 118 will have a 115 kilowatt, 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol instead of 103. Same as in the Mini Countryman, because all of these cars are related. As I said, the centre section is the same as before, so 26/70mm wheelbase, UKL2 platform shared with X1, X2, new Mini Countryman and the 1 Series hatch. They're all built at the Leipzig plant in Germany together because they're all related to each other. Now, the M135, and I've got to be very careful not to say I, because geez, it's hard, is all about gloss blacking everything. We have these gloss black mirrors, as I mentioned, the twin split. The roof is gloss black as standard on all of them, with this panoramic sunroof here in this case, gloss black around the windows, and we have this gloss black garnish here at the back here. So to sort of elongate the glass house, much as the nose at the front, which elongates the car by around 40 to 50 millimeters. We haven't had an official dimensional number yet as I'm filming this video. This sort of elongates the center here, so it keeps the Hofmeister kink, has a little 1 embossed in it in the middle here, and just adds a little bit of polish. I think the gloss black on the wheels, the roof, the windows, all that stuff, it really does give the F70 1 Series a newfound presence about it. The back end of the F70 1 Series is again about detail finessing and existing design, and I think it does a really good job of it. The tail lights here with these sort of cool dual-edged angled bits match the dual-edged vertical stuff in the DRLs at the front, and when you turn the indicator on, it sort of pulses this outer edge here. It's not quite sequential, but it has a kind of a pulse about it that matches at the front where both of those vertical DRLs light up at the same time. It gives it a bit of detail cool, which is what makes people look at something like this. Notice that the eye is missing off the name. It hasn't had an accident and had someone put the badge on wrong. This is the way it is now. The tailgate spoiler here finishes that gloss black from the roof and kicks up really beautifully. I think it looks really good, as does all this detail in the lighting stuff here. In the lower section here, this being the M135, it has sort of a gloss black garnish. It is the first M performance car outside of an M car, certainly in the car zone, to have 4 pipes. So we've got quad pipes, just like an M5, with this, again, gloss metallic finish around the edges of it. It does look really cool. This car did get a suspension change into its life. So late in 2021, the M135 got all new springs, dampers, changes to the diff, that sort of stuff, changes to the exhaust to make it a better driver's car. It wasn't really loved at launch. It could be good, but it could also be a bit patchy. And this has had all of that completely reworked again. BMW hasn't said what their aim is for it yet, but expect also with the 233 kilowatt engine to have a bit more crackle out of the exhaust here. So these 4 pipes hopefully won't just be for show, they will actually make it barkier. Because if a Hyundai i30N has that noise, why shouldn't an M135 have it? Inside the boot here, it's the same as before. It has an electric tailgate, and one of the great things about being front-wheel drive, even though this is an all-wheel drive, is that this is quite a cavernous space. What you see here is really nicely finished. When those back seats go down, they drop completely flat, level with that floor, but you can do this and fold it up and clip it, and then you've got all of this depth down here, which is why they quote 380 litres. That's best in class, or at least equivalent to best in class of pretty much any small hatchback you can buy. From behind the steering wheel, you can easily be fooled, I suppose, into thinking that this is a completely new 1 Series. Now, all of the dashboard is being fully refreshed, and the tops of the doors too. So the design here has changed slightly to blend into this curve in the dashboard here. All of this inspired by the new generation X1 and X2, which are all new cars. The 1 Series hatch is a heavy refresh, as we've already talked about. So all of these elements are inspired by the SUVs, and that means everything has changed. If you look at a picture of the old F40 1 Series, you realize it's really quite dated. It's a 2019 car, simple vents, exposed buttons, a screen here that kind of hangs off the edge of the instrument binnacle, all kind of old school BMW. Even the gear shifter feels like it's out of an E46 3 Series. That is all completely gone. The dashboard has no buttons whatsoever. This metallicized stuff here all has embedded ambient lighting. Same through here with this air vent here. The air vents are like on the new 5 Series and a few others here where you can open and close them, but then you have this little toggle here to direct air separately from that as well. All of the physical ventilation controls have gone, but they have migrated to the bottom of this 10.7-inch screen here. So they stay here at the bottom all the time, illuminated all the time, unlike some recent Volkswagen Group cars. So they're easily accessible. It's no big deal. On this side of the steering wheel, all the buttons are gone as well, which means that all of the lighting duties are to this left column stalk. It does the indicators, it does the headlights, front and rear fog lights. Everything is now on a stalk, not on the dashboard like a traditional BMW. The other thing that has changed in these UK L2 cars, meaning X1, X2, forthcoming 2 Series Grand Coupe, and in this case the 1 Series hatchback, is the iDrive controller is gone. all of this is new as well. This little sort of toggle selector switch for the gears, which you pulse into reverse, pulse into drive, pulse into sport. You just hit P for parking and it automatically selects park. We still have the start stop button here. Other simple things like the rear demister, front demister. We have a physical volume dial here, but it's all about minimalisation, just cleaning up the interior. In front we have 2 cup holders, 2 USB-C ports, the wireless charging tray that's rubberised here, and another rubberised tray that's smaller above here for whatever. I suppose the top of the dash here with this sort of nice soft touch feel and this really cool tricolour stripe in this M135 has a large degree of quality about it. Same with the brand new steering wheel inspired by the X1, which is a bit dished and has this cool spoke arrangement. That's really classy too. Screens much classier than before, much better graphics. But the lower that you go, it does tend to become hard and grainy plastic. It's a car that doesn't sell in huge numbers anymore, so they need to try and cost cut where they can, and this stuff here is a little bit 1970s Volkswagen, same with the bottoms of the doors, but where the things are that you touch, like the stitched armrest here, that doesn't slide, just opens for a bin. Same with the doors, these lovely, beautifully stitched door grabs with proper grabs in them, the tops of the doors, having the Harman Kardon speakers embedded into the door here, which is carried over from the previous model. Sitting here, staring in front, we do have the M steering wheel. It has a red marker at the top here. It has even thicker spokes than before. I suppose did it need that, but it's quite a thick rim. It has the tricolour stitching around the edges, and it has the full-size paddles here for the M135. The left one here has a little red minus and a red plus because behind them is this sort of red rubberized non-slip backing, and this one says boost. So when we do eventually drive the car, if we hold the left one down for a bit, it'll think, go to the lowest gear it possibly can and instantly switch itself to sport mode, regardless of what you've got the My modes in, which is down here, which are accessed through the screen in the centre. Among the equipment that is standard on the M135 for Australia, and is pretty much as you see here, is this dual pane panoramic glass sunroof. It has a head-up display to complement the 10.25 inch screen. It has the sports steering wheel we've talked about. We have wireless charging down here with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but this car does have the M Sport Pro Pack, so the only differences in the interior are these winged sport seats where the headrests are incorporated into the seat with M lighting. Like M lighting used to be something that you had to have a proper M car for, and we're in now an M performance car and it has features like that. So this lovely perforation in red here, little tricolour in the piping here. We've got the tricolour on the dash, although that is standard, and we do have the tricolour in these seatbelts here. That is part of that M Sport Pro package. And finally, to the practicality. Getting all this nice and clear actually really does free up some sense of room in the car. BMW says that they don't need to have the iDrive controller here because the 1 Series hatch is compact enough for the driver to easily be able to reach the touchscreen here, and I get that. That's actually a really good idea, especially if it's all simple and easy to use, which is what it appears to be. In the door here, I can fit this full 1 litre metal camping bottle comfortably here, although it does go in easier when the door is open and not when it's closed. And we have the cup holders in the centre here, another tray in the back here of the door. It's all pretty respectably good. It's not quite an SUV, it doesn't have hidden things underneath, but then that's why you buy a car like this, because it's not an SUV. Aside from sharing cost with other models, part of the justification for going front-wheel drive in the 1 Series was about in here. Switching to front drive from the previous rear drive model gave it 33mm more rear legroom and 19mm more rear headroom, and none of that has changed in the F70 1 Series, meaning that there is actually quite a bit of room in here. Like, the seat's pretty good, it doesn't have amazing under-thigh support, but it's quite comfortable. The backrest's in a really good position. These M Sport Pro Tombstone front seats aren't too fat. I like the way that they fill it in the back here and have dents for your legs. They're not too heavy in your face. They give you a really good view from out of here. The doors don't change in their trim quality from front to back, so while they won't take a camping bottle in here, they only take a smaller bottle. The stitching in the armrests, perhaps not as cushy as the front, but it's still there. The door trim at the top here, all the same sort of quality. We have 2 USB-C ports here. We have air vents, but no air temp control. Here we have a fold down center armrest with a pair of cup holders, which is pretty typical. Fairly even with the door, so quite comfortable. We can also get this whole center bit to come down here for the ski port and also use that as an even better armrest should you want. I think in general, it's actually quite doable. It is not the roomiest small hatchback around, but it does have a fairly high quality feel about it. With a panoramic roof and all this glass, it's actually surprisingly livable. It's not a full SUV, but it's pretty good for a sporty hatch. If you think about the progression from Mark V to Mark VI Volkswagen Golf, or from Holden's VE to VF Commodore, then you've got a pretty good idea of what the F70 1 Series hatchback is to the F40. It is a heavy makeover of an existing car designed to give this vehicle life to live into the next decade. This is meant to last until the 2030s, and the car underneath here is from 2019. So it carries a lot of the new stuff from the new generation cars, but it still has an element of the past because people aren't buying small hatchbacks anymore. They're buying SUVs and increasingly EVs. Now this M135 and its 118 sister car will arrive in Australia in Q4 of 2024. The current M135i costs around $77,000. So I could expect that the M135 will be somewhere from 80 to low 80,000s before on-road costs in Australia, and that the M Sport Pro package, which this car here sports, will be about $5,000. Now that puts the M135 in a bit of a class of its own. It's more expensive than a Golf R or a Corolla GR or those sort of more mainstream brand hot hatches, but it is significantly less than an RS3 or an A45 AMG. So it kind of has a bit of air to itself. And when it looks this much better than it did before, which is a significant lift on a car that has never really been that sexy, finally now it has some visual appeal to match its technological appeal. If you haven't subscribed, please do so below the video, hit the notification bell and tell us what you think about the facelifted BMW F70 1 Series hatchback or about chasing cars. Thanks for watching.